We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
Saw footage of a youngster my age being sexually assaulted by an American sex tourist in Cambodia. Despite Combs' insistence that he is innocent, a judge denied his lawyer's bail request because he was worried that Combs would attempt to observe in a case against Shah Diddy. Combs, Ashton Kutcher is being summoned to testify. A-list stars like 50 Cent and Tom Hanks are coming out about Ashton Kutcher and Diddy's involvement in unlawful sexual actions, and a new federal case is accusing children of doing so. Stay tuned as we dissect Ashton Kutcher's most recent admission of what he saw at Diddy's parties, revealing Hollywood's greatest predators for what they really are. I have seen footage of a youngster of the same age during FBI raids, among other things that no one should ever see, such as mine being read by an American sex tourist in Cambodia. And this child was so conditioned by her surroundings that she believed she was playing, but the right to pursue happiness for so many people is taken away by force, fraud, or coercion. And it is sold for the fleeting happiness of another. Ashton Kutcher and Diddy have been pals since the 1990s, but Diddy is presently being investigated for sex trafficking, minors racketeering conspiracy, and prostitution transportation. Has begun to disassociate himself from the disgraced producer. Did Ashton truly have no idea what Diddy was doing, or was Ashton Kutcher part of all the chaos that transpired? An increasing number of tapes are emerging that show Kutcher attending Diddy's parties, and if that wasn't enough, there's even footage of Ashton hugging 13-year-old Davy Chase and inviting her to Diddy's after-party for years. Ashton Kutcher has made an effort to portray himself as someone who really cares about kids, and at one time he even assisted the FBI. As the head of Thorn, an anti-sex trial group, a closer examination of Ashton's background shows that, despite his direct association with convicted rapists, he isn't exactly who we believe him to be. Ashton's carefully constructed image starts to fall apart, revealing a far more troubling reality thanks to Danny Masterson's disturbing remarks about wanting to harass Mila Kunis when she was just 14 years old. What's funny is that when she was 14, when we started the show, I was 19 years old, and they said, okay, you guys are going to be making out in this scene, and I'm thinking, that's probably your first kiss ever, right? He was my first kiss, right? What was a bet you made with Danny about our first kiss? No, it wasn't the first kiss, it was like the second or third kiss, it was the first. Anyway, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you that I've never kissed a guy, so as is an ex-Eve, and I was a 14-year-old girl. And he was really kind about it. He said, oh, don't worry. I said, okay. And then Daddy said, dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss or something. Like, no, $10, but I'm making it sound like it was really okay, D. Rosie, we had a little side B going on. You know, you're kissing on the show or between a lover and girlfriend and you'd use your tongue. It would depend on your level of acting ability, I suppose. I assume you're entirely correct. Danny bet me about $20 that I wouldn't do it, so of course I said, yeah, sure, what's the deal before the policeman arrived and you were arrested? Basically, they shouldn't have done it, but he did it today, I swear. I didn't let him, but I think he tried, but I think I did it with my mouth, so yeah, you did the old teeth block. You never got his you didn't. Ashton just admitted. D, she's 14 years old. She'd say it wasn't the first time and you were 15 by then, but I know that there's a significant difference and that 1 year may alter everything. All right, then we're meeting the person whose name should have been pursued in show business. Vander Wilmer, I'm at a loss for words, but the point is that Danny will be here too. Don't go. Lately, there have been rumors that Ashton Kutcher is genuinely getting ready to relocate to Europe in order to avoid a subpoena that would compel him to testify against Diddy. Kutcher and his spouse Mila Kunis publicly defended Danny Masterson during the raid on Diddy's home, and now they're participating in another case. Is this only a coincidence? We understand the suffering caused by the character letters we prepared on Danny M's behalf. We have a history of supporting victims via our work, and we will do so going forward. A few months ago, Danny's family contacted in order for the judge to fully consider that when determining the appropriate sentence, they asked us to write character letters to represent the person we had known for 25 years. These letters were not written to cast doubt on the legitimacy of the legal system or the jury's verdict. Rather, they were meant to serve as a guide for the judge, not to cast doubt on the victim's testimony or traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that, and we are sorry if that has happened. Someone who's ever been sexually assaulted or raped, wow, I have a lot I can't tell, so I can't tell that one either. I'm actually cycling through them. There was one instance, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really strange, and it began over punked because he said, yo, you can't punk me, and I said, not me, I'm off the table. That's how our conversation began, and we quickly became friends. As we look into the relationship between Diddy and Ashton Kutcher, we just hang out and watch football together. It's crucial to remember that there is unmistakable evidence linking Kutcher to illegal activities that allegedly occurred at Diddy's parties, as evidenced by leaked tapes that purportedly showed Kevin Hart and Usher at Diddy's parties. It is also said that Kutcher is preparing to testify against Diddy in exchange for immunity, and tapes that show celebrities having sex with children have already been turned over. He could get it if he knew about some people they would prefer to have instead of him. Information to them, but they have to want it. He and Ashton Kutcher were close once, and when we met Jay-Z at a subsequent game, you know what I mean? So they were cool. However, you think Diddy would do something similar to that to other celebrities, so why would it have to be a lie? If he gets caught, he will be as honest as possible, and you know that he will give them enough information to make him appear like the choir. Boy, if he was doing anything with Diddy, he had legitimate reason to be a little alarmed. You know, they used to have this group called the Brat Pack, and Diddy and a few other guys were hanging out with Leonardo and another guy whose name I can't remember. His coming out with that comment is suspicious. It sounds like he's worried that Diddy might divulge some information, which is why he made that statement to set it up. We know that whatever he did, his tape recorders went, his camera equipment was functioning, and he was videotaping everything, so they may already have that film. This was done to create the impression that this person was lying to us and not telling the truth. Several sources, due to the alleged gravity of Diddy's crimes, tie Ashton Kutcher is presently involved in a federal case that is being tried in a closed courtroom with 8 freak witnesses. The case involves evidence and testimony that have previously been given to a grand jury. The tapes that show nearly a dozen A-list celebrities having intimate relationships with children. One of the celebrities we know will be named as Ashton Kutcher. They would invite these people, many of whom were also up-and-coming musicians, and these parties were sponsored by the CEOs of M-Town Records and Universal Records. This goes all the way to the top, putting these people in precarious situations and providing them with alcohol. Their video cassettes were trendy at the time, and then at the end of the day, you wake up the following morning and wonder, what did I do? They have compromising material on you, and they have the power to steer or even destroy your career, but they got you. As you mentioned, it wasn't just musicians, there were athletes, celebrities, politicians, and members of the royal family. The former bodyguard also told us that Diddy was an FBI informant, meaning he was a snitch and was providing the Fed with information, and we're not sure what that means. I haven't been able to verify it, but even Ron stated that it's not just like EP, it might even be worse than Jeffrey Epstein. According to Ron, Diddy even alternated with other celebrities regarding AB minors, and everything was recorded so Diddy could use it as blackmail later. Those statements include descriptions of what the witness claims he saw on those tapes. I questioned him about it, and he gave me the best response he could regarding the restrictions placed on him following his grand jury testimony: be either drunk, intoxicated, or under the influence. Of those 8, how many? Kutcher is preparing to testify since he knows the FBI has him on camera, according to Courtney Burgess and Harvey Levine from TMZ. That's nuts, bro. I just heard about that, but you heard about Ashton Kutcher's concerns that Diddy might lie to his friends. That's what I've been saying, though, which is that if the federal government wanted someone more than they wanted Diddy, many of them seem to be potential victims. How many might have been victimizing? I believe that, to be honest, all of them were victims who were also perpetrators. This means that they were all victims, meaning that this was happening to them while they were intoxicated, and I'm not sure how much evidence there was of what they were doing. Of those 8, how many appeared to be potentially minors? 2 to 3, possibly 3. Thank you for viewing. To see News Nation on your screen, visit join.nn.com. Don't forget to click the red subscription button below to get more of News Nation's objective, fact-driven journalism. Now, even if Diddy's co-conspirators aren't named in the criminal lawsuits, they won't be able to escape the civil cases. The lawyer for the majority of these cases has already stated, even though the federal case against Diddy is currently being heard behind closed doors, that they will be naming everyone involved in abuse. We plan to name people in these lawsuits. We won't do it in interviews. We won't do it without conducting our due diligence, because as you are aware, these kinds of accusations are extremely hurtful to people, both if they are true and if they are, you shouldn't have been in the room or taking part. For that reason, I expect that we will begin filing lawsuits, and while they may not be well known at first, we have a long list of names, and you can imagine that in cases like this, when a victim informs us that someone was present in the room or that someone participated, we want to do as much due diligence as we possibly can before filing that case, because in the United States, for example, public filings are actually public in practically every state, and you know that when you name someone in a lawsuit, the press will pick it up. And we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our minds, and I anticipate that some of the persons mentioned in these cases will be the subject of raised eyebrows due to this statute. It's noteworthy to note that Diddy's nightmare began in November 2023 with a civil action. According to Gandil, Cassie accused Diddy of sexual assault and sex trafficking in a civil case that described a history of abuse that reportedly started soon after they met in 2005, when Cassie was 19 and Diddy was 37. The action resulted in the U.S. attorney for the fee The arrest of Sean Combs, also known as Puffy or Diddy, on sexual abuse racketeering charges sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community and is igniting intense online debates about who knew what, when, and for how long, as well as who else might have been involved. The Southern District of New York began his investigation into Diddy. Despite Combs' insistence that he is innocent, the court denied his lawyer's bail request because he was worried that Combs may attempt to interfere with witnesses Cole's years-long decline in the making and involved Cassie Ventura, his ex-girlfriend, and others, according to a friend of the show, Teray, who was reporting on what caused Diddy Combs to go dark, and the reason why he's currently facing a mountain of serious charges is because, in part, Dr. It's Central dragged Cassie down into addiction when they were together. After she left him, someone claimed she went to rehab to take control of her life, which resulted in a healing process not only from the hip-hop pioneer. DMX was renowned for his rough sound, unadulterated energy, and memorable songs, but he was also feared for taking on the industry's darker aspects. DMX stood out as one of the most honest and foresighted individuals in the rap genre because he was not afraid to speak truth to power throughout his career. Celebrities, 2 ladies, and 6 guys. I just want to start by saying that he wouldn't know if they were right, so let me rephrase it based on the understanding that of the 8 celebrities who were caught having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be underage or possibly underage? Of those 8 celebrities, how many were intoxicated or under the influence of alcohol? And because he was prepared to expose the hypocrisy and corruption in the industry decades before the topic was widely discussed. DMX's outspokenness in the early 2000s extended much beyond the usual business feuds. In addition to disparaging other rappers, he was making outspoken claims about the inner workings of the business, revealing how certain people were abusing their position of authority and influence to influence others and close deals. X seemed to have an awareness of the bigger, often corrupt system that operated behind closed doors, while many musicians were preoccupied with their careers or preserving their street cred. DMX's criticism of Diddy, one of the rap industry's most influential figures, was a monumental moment in his career. DMX criticized Diddy for what he saw as dubious behind-the-scenes activities, charging him with abusing his connections and power to maintain a commanding lead in the music business. More precisely, DMX said that Diddy had engaged in the use of intimate connections with rappers, including sexual ties with label executives, to close profitable deals and expand his own business. Many people at the time brushed these accusations off as gossip or the irate outbursts of a musician who had lost favor with the business, but every year that goes by, DMX's insight into exposing the murky underbelly of the rap game becomes more significant. In the present day, it seems like DMX could have had a beneficial idea. The continuous controversy surrounding Diddy's private life and commercial dealings has raised fresh concerns about how the industry manages stardom, wealth, and power. The most obvious instance of this occurred when Homeland Security conducted raids on Diddy's residences in March 2024. Many outrageous claims against the mogul's actions surfaced as a result of the probe, including charges of exploitation, corruption, and illegal commercial activities. Many fans and industry insiders have been forced to reconsider their preconceived notions of Diddy and the music business culture that let such conduct thrive in light of these discoveries. The response of other rap industry players, especially those who have long been connected to Diddy, is even more startling. Joel Santana, a longtime presence in the rap culture and member of the Diplomats, is one name that has drawn attention recently. Joel's openly supported Diddy after the search on his properties, referring to the accusations as unfortunate circumstances during an interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored. His support of Diddy sparked skepticism, especially in light of the current accusations. Given how ambiguous and fluid the situation was, why would Joel's jump to Diddy's defense? According to some rumors, Joel's may have been on a recording during one of Diddy's notorious freak-offs, a word used to characterize Diddy's crazy parties where the lines between personal and professional matters were often crossed. Joel's career and image would suffer greatly if such a recording were to surface, since it would not only prove his participation in the contentious Diddy culture, but also provide indisputable proof of the ties DMX had forewarned the public about years before. This argument is further supported by the widespread belief that Joel's, like many other rap artists, may have compromised his morals in order to keep his job. Many rappers have often made dubious choices due to the pull of fame, wealth, and power. DMX was. After that, she had the guts to speak out. Now, joining me is T, who, as I previously said, has been covering Diddy on his Substack, Cultural Fries, and on his Tier Show podcast. My buddy, you may talk about more about what you discovered about the factors that contributed to Diddy's demise. As you are aware, Cassie spent almost 10 years making an album. She wrote a lot of songs, collaborated with other artists, and had producers. One of the few who publicly opposed the notion of sacrificing his morals in order to succeed in the business. Staying loyal to his origins was always DMX's struggle, and if it meant revealing the industry's darkest secrets, then so be it. Now that Diddy and the business as a whole are once again in the limelight, DMX's early warnings are even more important. DMX was among the first to realize that real power in the rap game was about more than simply music. It was about control, manipulation, and the capacity to hide secrets from the public. Many other players in the game have continued to concentrate on preserving their careers or developing their brands. In a field where many people are scared to speak out, he has been able to shine as a light of truth because of his unvarnished opinion and willingness to question the established quo. So, recent events involving Diddy and Joel Santana serve as a sobering reminder of DMX's veracity. Few people dared to talk about the rap industry's years-long corruption like X. His cautions now appear more relevant than ever, demonstrating that the rap industry's shadowy side is far more sinister than most people think. As more and more historical and contemporary people come to light, DMX's reputation as a pioneering hip-hop whistleblower is cemented, demonstrating that he wasn't just a voice of the streets but also a voice for revealing the truth about the industry. The late great DMX may have been compromising themselves behind the scenes for fame. This is like the ultimate I told you so moment for him. This story is far from over, so let's get started and break it all down. The clothes for one of them show got them XE let no dog tell you do. Oh my mama, oh my mama. Let's start with some background because J. Rue's name always seems to come up whenever those crazy rumors about Diddy's freaky parties hit the streets. No one knows exactly how Diddy and Jay connected, but the truth. Gotti, who produced Ja's early songs in the mid-90s, most likely introduced them. Whatever it was, Diddy saw something in Ja and took them under his wing. If you look at the Diddy party pictures from the early 2000s, you can see that Jay was living it up and becoming close to Diddy. However, once the rumors that Diddy was on the DL began to circulate, everyone in his circle, including Ja, became enmeshed in them. At first, no one gave Diddy and Ja's friendship much thought because Ja tied the knot with his high school sweetheart, Aisha Murray, back in 2001, around the time he began dating Diddy. From the outside, nothing about Jay's lifestyle suggested that he and Diddy were having more affairs, but in 2022, Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, decided to stir things up by claiming that he once took Diddy shopping for adult toys in Atlanta, and that same day, Diddy flew to North Carolina and allegedly used those toys in A. When I passed by and looked up, I saw that it said, butt plugs. I thought, hey, what are you getting this for? And he said, yeah, I can do my shopping by myself, I replied. Yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. Then I opened the door to the presidential suite where we were, and the man said, he's here for my cousin. I asked, who's your cousin? And he replied, he's busy right now, to which I said. And when Jao ran out of the room, Puff grabbed his towel and Jay grabbed his toe, but they were naked. Then Jay asked, yo, what's going on, Yo Jan? That's my cousin. He knows me well, and Puff like, yo Jan, what happened? I told him that he tried to enter the room, but he couldn't, so he just looked at Jay and said, yo, Jay said you didn't want to go in that room. Ongoing bear in mind. A full year before Cassie's lawsuit blew everything open, Gene spilled the tea. After Cassie opened the floodgates, more people began to share their stories about Diddy's behavior, and Gene went back to double down. He said Diddy had been acting in this way for years, even when he was publicly dating women. Gene also claimed that Diddy had even been known to quietly sneak off to Turkish baths to hook up with men. I used to wait outside a Turkish bath because, that's what they do in Turkey. Baths, no, I don't. Well, you don't? All right. That's where many homosexual guys congregate, and they all take hot baths together twice or even 3 times a week. When I'm outside, the driver will dash into the Turkish bath. But Gene isn't the only insider who has discussed Diddy and Ja Rule's purported relationship. Jaguar recently criticized Ja for neglecting his wife and accused him of going out with Diddy and his cellmate while incarcerated for 2 years on tax fraud charges as well. Jaguar said that before going to prison, Ja was already connected to Diddy and allegedly maintained that same energy with his behind bars. I've been very courteous to Ja Rule, I've been very courteous with that right there, but with all due respect, you're going to go to jail and turn on your wife for your S. What kind of person would say that he chose AS over his wife? He dumped his wife, yes, he refused to visit and told her not to come, it was a waste of time and money, and then she discovered the letter of. Recent events involving Diddy and Joel Santana serve as a sobering reminder of DMX's veracity. Few people dared to talk about the rap industry's years-long corruption like X. His cautions now appear more relevant than ever, demonstrating that the rap industry's shadowy side is far more sinister than most people think. As more and more historical and contemporary people come to light, DMX's reputation as a pioneering hip-hop whistleblower is cemented, demonstrating that he wasn't just a voice of the streets, but also a voice for revealing the truth about the industry. The late great DMX may have been compromising themselves behind the scenes for fame. This is like the ultimate I told you so moment for him. This story is far from over, so let's get started and break it all down. The clothes for one of them show got them XE let no dog tell you do. Oh my mama, oh my mama. Let's start with some background because J. Rue's name always seems to come up whenever those crazy rumors about Diddy's freaky parties hit the streets. No one knows exactly how Diddy and Jay connected, but the Truth I.R. Gotti, who produced Jay's early songs in the mid-90s, most likely introduced them, whatever it was. With his high school sweetheart, Aisha Murray, back in 2001, around the time he began dating Diddy? From the outside, nothing about Ja's lifestyle suggested that he and Diddy were having more affairs, but in 2022, Diddy's former bodyguard Gene Deal decided to stir things up by claiming that he once took Diddy shopping for adult toys in Atlanta, and that same day, Diddy flew to North Carolina and allegedly used those toys in I was in a hotel room with Jaru because they gave him a brown paper bag and he was just stuffing things in it. I told him, damn, so he had to go put it on the counter and show everyone what he was getting. As he was going, I was just observing the places where he was picking things, and at one point he picked up some things from up here on my left side and then he picked like a couple of them down. I said, okay, and he planned to place them in the bag. When I passed by and looked up, I saw that it said butt plugs. I thought, hey, what are you getting this for? And he said, yeah, I can do my shopping by myself. I replied, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. Then I opened the door to the presidential suite where we were, and the man said, he's here for my cousin. I asked, who's your cousin? And he replied, he's busy right now, to which I said. When Joe ran out of the room, Puff grabbed his towel and Jay grabbed his toe, but they were naked. Then Jay asked, yo, what's going on? Yo, Jan, that's my cousin. He knows me, well, you know, and Puff, like, yo, Jan, what happened? I told him that he tried to enter the room, but he couldn't. So he just looked at Jay and said, yo, Jay said you don't want to go in that room. Ongoing, bear in mind, a full year before Cassie's lawsuit blew everything open, Gene spilled the tea. After Cassie opened the floodgates, more people began to share their stories about Diddy's behavior, and Gene went back to double down. He said Diddy had been acting in this way for years, even when he was publicly dating women. Gene also claimed that Diddy had even been known to quietly sneak off to Turkish baths to hook up with men. I used to wait outside a Turkish bath because, you know, that's brand when the Federal Reserve says, hey, yo, listen here, we got you on, hey, buddy, we got you on this tape, and a girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not going to show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love P. Diddy. They are praying that they are not on the tape doing crazy things and being all up in the whole 9 yards, regardless of whether it has anything to do with the music, clothes, or movies. The album never really had a release date. It was never going to come out. This is from a story I'm working on for the topic that will be released later this week. When Kim Porter dies, he is so distraught and distracted that Cassie manages to escape him. She becomes pregnant and married, and after that, she is in a supportive environment with her parents and husband by her side. She also has friends nearby, and she attends rehab, where she finds her voice to be able to speak up for the person she was before being controlled by him. Because she is no longer that person, and when she reaches that point in her life, she begins to speak up because so many people wanted to speak out against him but were afraid. When she finds the courage to do so, others are able to do the same, and then everything falls apart for him. And, you know, racketeering suggests that there are multiple people involved, but there are other people in Diddy's. There are many people waiting to tell the story, but I believe that a lot of the evidence will come from what Shan himself videotaped. We can identify Operation as being crucial to security, obtaining items, and bringing people into his orbit. I would assume that many of those people are currently speaking with federal law enforcement in an attempt to avoid going to jail, while others are sitting there anxious. Yes, that's what people will believe will get him out, but he won't be able to claim that this well-known person attended my party and did something inappropriate, therefore, let's get rid of him for a year. No, that's not how things work. According to reports, Diddy's tendency of gaining control over those he could utilize allowed him to exist for a very long time. Everyone who was associated with Diddy but isn't coming out at the moment is mute for one reason: they're afraid that they could be on the recordings, as stated by Gene Deal. These people, Diddy's former bodyguard, are aware that they are on the tapes and what they did, but they won't speak until they are called to testify. Why hasn't anyone come out to defend Diddy and his famous friends? They believe it's all about the money. They witnessed what he did to Cassie, including punching and kicking her, and they know that no one in America likes that. As a result, these people are now represented by They will start talking Puff Daddy, but they won't be talking in his favor when the feds show them what they have on tape, because if he had 250 tapes and 250 cameras throughout the house, someone would have been caught stealing the cookie out of the cookie jar. It could have been your favorite politician or your favorite pastor, but they didn't realize that Brother Love was watching. I'm referring to TDJJ, who hasn't even come out and said anything, and him and Diddy was very awesome guy. Amen. Yes, man. I know that the folks in the church over there are trembling because this man led them to damnation. If that man is seen on those tapes doing anything, hearts will be broken. See, you people always place their faith in the pastor rather than in God. Instead, they should realize that he is only a man and that his past is not promising, which makes you think that CBS is concerned. That they might be on CH, which is why they aren't speaking up or saying anything. Yes, I was at a dodgy party, but I know I'm not doing anything. You know what happens when you don't realize someone is recording you in some way and you have that alcohol in you, so you let down all your inhibitions. The music is pumping, and he said it himself, saying it's so hot in there that you have to take off your clothes. What was he saying, bro? I believe a lot of them were being swallowed. Have you ever been swallowed? They constantly reprimand themselves, man. You just have to listen. But why do you think he had all those hidden cameras? When you were that powerful, you wouldn't have gotten that way without having 1, 2, or even 3 ups on someone. Did he always have the tendency to want to have ups on the next person regardless of what they were doing? He always pitted artists against one another. He did it to Big. Matt Craig, you understand what I mean when I say that he did the things to Ja Rule before he could go after Jay-Z. He always played these kinds of up games on people, so if you look at those cameras and know what he was doing, it will give him the ups on everyone who attended that party, including your favorite basketball player. It's not a party like a Diddy party, and we know who said that he might have been one of the people who got caught up in the Diddy PA. Around Diddy are as at fault as he is. It has just recently come to light that Diddy reportedly paid his bodyguards as well. One of Diddy's alleged victims, Thea Graves, has come out publicly. Harris County is the latest woman to speak out against music mogul Shay Diddy. Yes, our Rhea Raj is here to provide further details on the case that was filed yesterday. According to Recolette Mia, these are Sean's most recent claims, and they were made within a week after Combs was charged with federal crimes, saying that he exploited his company, Empire, as a criminal. Talia Graves, a resident of Harris County, filed a lawsuit against Combs in New York yesterday. We are using her name because she has made her claims public. According to the lawsuit, Graves claims that in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security enticed her into a meeting at a recording studio in New York City, where they gave her a drink that caused her to momentarily lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves claims she was bound, was held while Combs brutally assaulted her. The lawsuit, which was filed on Tuesday, also claims that the alleged incident was captured on camera and that many other males saw it. Graves claims that several threats forced her to remain quiet for decades. My body has been affected by the violation I suffered during the ass, leading to persistent health issues and consequences. I want to keep going on this road because the mix of mental and physical agony has formed a vicious cycle of misery that is very difficult to escape. Toward healing and recuperation, although I'm pleased that he is, my relief is fleeting. With reports of taped testimonies and impending legal battles, the disturbing allegations against Sha Diddy Combs continue to unravel the involvement of high-profile figures like Ashton Kutcher, raising even more questions about Hollywood's darkest secrets. Combs, 54, is in jail facing federal charges including sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail twice after entering a not guilty plea. It is evident that this case has the potential to reveal a decades-long network of privilege and power. Keep checking back as we learn more about Ashton Kutcher's involvement with Diddy's parties and the startling revelations that are now being made public.